Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some interesting facts about these little guys, the ants, right? Now, these ants are pretty interesting, in fact. They have a lot of cool, unique features that are very unique, right? And we're going to get into them. So, listen, right now, right? I think a lot of people know this, but some people might not. But ants actually can lift up 20 times its own body weight, right? So that means if an ant was a second grader, it could pick up an entire car, which is crazy to think about. It's really insane that you could pick up 20 times your own body weight, right? And there are about more than 12,000 species of these guys, so they're not going anywhere. They're not going to be extinct they're going nowhere. There's a lot of ants in the world. So you don't have to worry about these guys going extinct. I mean, you'd probably be happy about it from them going into your home or stuff like that and stinging you, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to know, you know what I mean? And some queens actually can live for many years, and right? So a lot of queens don't live for that long, right? They only live for like maybe a year or two, right? But some queens actually can live up to many years, like maybe 5 or like 4, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it's pretty interesting because that means they can produce like millions of little ants, which is just another thing crazy to think about. Like, these guys are really insane, right? And a cool thing about ants, like all ants, they don't have lungs, right? They breathe, but they don't have lungs. And you might be wondering, well, how do they breathe? So they have these little air pockets, right? They have these little holes all around their body, and they take in oxygen and then breathe out carbon dioxide from those little holes, which is pretty cool because like it's all over their body, and it's like interesting the way they're built, you know what I mean? And ants actually don't hear. They don't have ears either, which is another cool thing because they can hear without ears. And the way they hear, right, is by feeling the vibration on the ground through their feet. So they'll feel the vibrations, and then that's how they'll be able to hear. That'd be pretty cool if humans were able to do that. Although it would be pretty weird if you think about it. Anyways, when ants fight, it's usually to their death. They're usually gonna die when they're going in a fight. Like, they're not gonna... They might survive, some ants, but like if an ant is going into a fight, it's most likely gonna die. They're most likely gonna fight until they're dead. And cool thing about fighting ants is that if they go after a colony of ants or a different colony, what they'll do is if they defeat the colony, one side of the ants, they would go into that other ant's nest, that other ant's colony, right, their little area, and take all the eggs out and put them in their colony and create slave ants, right? And the slave ants will just be workers. They would work for the entire kingdom, which is interesting, but it's like, wow, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's weird to think about the way ants have an entire system set up perfectly, and it's kind of similar to humans. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Back then, a lot of humans used to take slaves, right, from other colonies and other countries. They'll take people from there. So it's pretty interesting the way they have that set up, right? And when the queen of the colony dies, right, the colony can only survive for a few months, and queens are rarely replaced, and the workers are not able to reproduce. And that's pretty crazy because, like, if a queen doesn't live that long, right, only lives a couple years, that means the ant colony will only live for like maybe a couple years. And if they can find a new queen in time, it'll live for longer. You know what I mean? So it's like wow, the queen is a very valuable asset in the entire colony, you know what I mean? Like, that's how valuable these guys are, like the queen is. And it's crazy. So most of the time, a lot of ants, right, they like sweet substances. They'll prefer to eat those, but they will eat almost anything, right? So they'll eat like meat, eggs, oils, fats. And also, when foraging for food, right, the ants leave, right, pheromone trails. Like, they leave trails everywhere they go, like chemical trails. They're called pheromone trails, and they use that to like get back to where they were at, right? they use that to navigate through the area of where they're going and to get back to their actual colony, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, they send a chemical little trail out for other ants and their own ant, like their own selves, to figure out a way back, which is interesting. You know what I mean? They use a lot of chemical signals and stuff to get around with their life, which is pretty cool. Like, they'll use a chemical signal or a chemical scent to track down a certain area of the colony, right? So a lot of ants, what they would do when they're creating a colony, they would create a little like graveyard area. So if they find any dead ants, they'll take them there, right? And they'll put them in that graveyard area. And the way they do this, the way they figure out if it's a dead ant, is by the dead ant giving a chemical signal off for the other ants to realize that the ant is dead, which is interesting. It's like, wow, they really have it's very compact. It's very interesting the way they're built. You know what I mean? And these guys, you know, they eliminate standing water, right? Similar to mosquitoes and termites, they're attracted to moisture, right? So they like moisture all around their area, right? And they might even go after a little like soil area and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And a lot of other ants, right? What they would do is they'll try to find like a little a very moist area, right? And they'll build their colony right there. They'll try to find at least some type of water or something like that. You know what I mean? And they'll try to get habitat there too, which is pretty cool. Like, they have a very cool system set up. And it's really cool to see how they work and how they live, because what they do is like, this is like their day-to-day lives. They basically have workers that wake up and then go outside in the colony, right? What they'll do, they'll go outside and look for food, and they'll look for sources of water, and they'll look for stuff to keep the colony running, right? And then you have the soldiers, right? The soldiers are the bigger ants that help protect the queen, protect the colony from any other like dangers outside, maybe another colony, you know what I mean? And just protecting the entire area of their anthill. And then you have the actual queen, which is the lady that helps keep the colony running. So she's basically where it's like the source of the colony. It's like the center of the sun, or like the core of the earth. It helps keep the earth living, or like the colony living, so it could keep running, you know what I mean, over time.